State of Origin Game 3 is upon us. A decider in Suncorp for the third game. This is one of the biggest games any player will ever play in their career next to a grand final. Some would argue it's even bigger. New South Wales is confident and Billy Slater is rattled. Who wins and who loses? Stick with us today as Dibbo and I go through all the drama. Hey Dibbo, you excited for the game?
Excited, but just also, I don't know, nervous maybe.
Is a bit of nerves there, you reckon?
Bit of nerves, not around the players, it's around how the ref's going to go.
A big contention.
Same story every year. Absolute cheat. I don't care what anyone says. We seem to always get the crappy Queensland refs reffing State of Origin more often than we get New South Wales refs. There's something we'll go through later on. I'm sure you can address that. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be addressing
that. Really backs up what we've probably been saying for the last 30 years.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I want to start right at the top of Queensland with Billy Slater. Yeah? I've been asking myself the question, I think the media's been asking, is Billy Slater rattled?
I'll tell you what, Billy's Mr. Cool. If you go back to his playing days, I know he used to probably, click here and throw a million punches. But he's always been Mr. Cool. Even after his career finished, when he went into commentary and, even now he's been taking over the coaching for the last 3 years. He's been Mr. Cool. But this time, I think it's really irked him. It's got him. I could see his facial 100%. Expressions changing.
Well, let me put it this way to you. It's easy to be Mr. Cool when you're coaching up against Brad Fittler, who makes errant team choices.
3 games a year too, yeah.
3 games a year, but you're up against, Brad Fittler, who, as New South Welshmen, we all have an opinion on the teams that he chose and some of the decisions that he made. But I think it's interesting, right? After game 2, when asked about his team's performance, he had nothing to say. All he could say was, we are Queenslanders. Clearly, mentally, he wasn't capable of responding to the questions and he wasn't ready to respond to them. And you know what?
In other words, our home crowd and the referee will get us home.
I mean, that's what he's trying to say.
Year out, they get the rub of the green from the referees.
And the rubbish about, Queenslanders understanding Origin and things like that. Look, I'm not here to bash Queenslanders. I'm just trying to understand where Billy Slater is at the moment. And he's made some really poor decisions, I think, in choosing the team for Game 3. But, he said, we are Queenslanders. It seems everyone is a Queenslander but David Fafita because he left him out of Game 3.
Also,
the team for Game 3.
Also, Selwyn Cobbo. I believe he's not talking to him as well. So the media's onto that.
Well, I mean, he came out today in the media and he said it's not true. He called it fake news and he said that Selwyn's the happiest he's been or the happiest that Billy's seen him in Origin camp.
He didn't have to say he's the happiest you've seen him.
Yeah,
he didn't have to go there.
Yeah.
That's just opened up even more of a can of worms.
A little bit defensive there, you reckon?
He's opened up another can of worms.
Because the other thing I think that shows Billy Slater is rattled are his team selections. So, I mean, it's very interesting when you look at the Blues, how big they are, how powerful they are, and how they bullied the Queensland team in game 2. And then instead of, say, picking a couple of more forwards, he's sort of doubled down on some of the poor decisions he made in game 2. And he's got, for example, Galen Bonga on the bench. He's got Felice Kovusi on the bench, who I think he's been a great servant for Queensland, but I don't think he's going to be able to make a mark on this game.
You think he's played one season too many for State of Origin?
Yeah, I think he's played one Origin game too many. And if you imagine you had someone like a David Fafita coming off the bench, that would worry New South Wales.
Oh, hands down.
Right now, look, Ponga,
even if he was starting, it'd worry us.
Absolutely, in any instance, Fafita worries you. Look, Kalen Ponga will worry us. I think Mo Fotuaika had a great game too, but if you look at the team overall, they've only got Mo Fotuaika and Lindsay Collins as real, true, big props. Ruben Cotter's quite a small prop. Nane, Capewell and Carrigan, while they get through a lot of work, aren't exactly the barnstorming forwards that the Blues have on the other side. Right? So I think, instead of being open to criticism, taking or accepting he's made some mistakes, I feel like he's doubled down on that, and he's sort of really hoping Suncorp and the fans get Queensland through Game 3 as opposed to picking the right team.
I think he's riding off his 2 series wins in a row. He's had it, in my opinion, he's had it probably made for him, to be honest. Obviously, his coaching opponent, the sides they chose, the refereeing blunders. New South Wales just literally handed him those series. So I think, I just still think if Swaley doesn't come with that swinging arm in the first State of Origin, he's down 2-0 and looking at 3-0.
I agree. And now we talk about, Billy Slater being rattled, not picking Fafita. I think this is very interesting, but I remember when I saw the team for Game 3, the Queensland team, I said that this was the nail in the coffin for Queensland. Them not picking Fafita has, I think, put them in a very, very strong position to lose the game.
Till the referee gets involved and makes it look like a masterstroke.
But I mean, even to a certain extent, you can play the referee out of the game. You can.
Not this guy.
Look, in game one...
He's absolutely ridiculous.
In game two...
It's criminal they've put him for even one game, let alone now the third.
In game two, the referee in the first half had no say. The only reason Queensland didn't have 60 scored on them was because of the referee. But by then, the game had already been won. And if the game was tighter...
Did you see how ridiculous, how criminal he was in that second half?
I agree with you, but if the game was tighter, I don't think actually Klein referees it that way. That's what I'm trying to say, right? It was too far gone. Now... the other thing that it's very controversial, right? And let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't seen us before, please be sure to give us a like. Please subscribe to our channel. We have heaps of content coming up. I actually think DCE is done. People are going to disagree with me. They're going to say, oh, he had a good first game. He played against 12.
Well, he's 35 now, so this will be his final series. I don't think he plays next year at the age of 36. I don't think Ben Hunt plays next year either.
I think that's a good call because I don't think... I can't say anything about Ben Hunt. I think he plays his role well at 9, but I don't think DCE... I think DCE is 1 yard too slow. And when I say 1 yard too slow, I don't actually mean that he's too slow in running. What I mean is his ability, his reflexes, his passing. He's still great and one of the best halves in the game, but I just think at origin level, in needing to defend against an Angus Crichton or against a Liam Martin or against a Payne Haas...
This will be his final game.
Or Bradman Best... I think that he's lost it, but I also think that his reflexes aren't what they used to be. That's genuinely what I think, in that I think he's going to be found out in Game 3.
I don't think he'll be found out at all. I still think he'll have some influence. I don't think he'll have a bad game. I just think even if they can contain him, he'll just have an average game.
He was found out in defence in Game 2. Angus Crichton, Dylan Edwards, Latrell Mitchell absolutely tore them up on that right edge.
Of course. I don't think he'll have a bad game. I just think, he's 35 now. I still think he's near the top of his game, not at the top.
What would you rate his game in Game 2? What would you rate him out of 10?
I couldn't give anyone in that team more than 4 or 5 out of 10. Exactly. I don't think he'd turn a horrible game in. No, he's not that sort of player. I hope he doesn't turn in a fantastic game because that will really burn me, Anyways.
Look, I have my sort of controversial takes, and I don't think that he has the pack to have a game where he dominates.
Oh, you know what? He's really strange, and it's probably, you trace it back outside of State of Origin to the Canterbury Bulldogs side. He doesn't have a big forward pack, and Canterbury doesn't have a big forward pack. Like one big bopper in Sam Hughes, right? And then you look at Queensland team, and it's pretty much similar. Like you got North Queensland forward. What's his name? We've got the list down here. Here we go. What's his name? Cotter.
Yeah, you're Ruben Cotter.
Yeah, and then
Lindsay Collins.
Lindsay Collins, a big bopper, nothing spectacular. But then you got Jeremiah, Nanai, and Capewell. They're not big second rowers, like Felice Kafusi. But look at their bench: Harry Grant and Kalen Ponga. They got Fodawaker, that's a big bopper.
Harry Grant hasn't played in 3 games. Ponga's played 1 game since round 7.
If anything, Grant's just another hooker on them. And then you look at New South Wales, they got Connor Watson, who's bigger than Harry Grant. Watson can double up as a lock.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you look at New South Wales' bench, Spencer Linney, Mitch Barnett, and Isaiah Yeo. And then you look at their big boppers in the forward pack. Like Drake Travojevic, I reckon he's still as effective as a bunch of pancakes. But
yeah, I agreed.
Payne Haas, Angus Crichton.
Wait, before we get into that, right? About DCE, I think that DCE will be frustrated out of the game, and I think that he's going to miss many honestly, I just feel like...
Look, I think he's in front of his home crowd. He's got it all happening for him. It's a tough ask for New South Wales because they have these Queenslanders that are Plus, obviously, what we'll discuss later, but with the refs there, it's just ridiculous how they give him not just one leg up, but about 10 or 20 leg ups.
I think we are better than them across the park in every way.
It's been like that nearly every year, but there's a lot of games that's just
But they've been poor decisions, whereas I think that Madge here has made he's almost selected the perfect team. The only way is if Latrell wasn't injured.
You Latrell and you got Cleary as well.
Obviously, Cleary.
There's probably 3 or 4 players that are missing out from injury, but
I mean, the
it's
Queenslanders,
still a solid team.
The Queenslanders have, they've got Munster missing, they've got Tino missing. And look, I think the Blues know what they're in for, and I think this new breed of Blues doesn't know what that history of losing sort of deciders up there means. It doesn't mean anything to them. For them, they're going to go up there and just give it to Queensland. But we've mentioned Suncorp, and so I'm calling it the Suncorp Factor. I want to talk a little bit about that, right?
Yep.
The Suncorp Factor. Every great stadium in the world, you look at the Wembleys of the world, you look at the MCG, Brisbane's sort of becoming its own person or its own thing, right? It's sort of more than just a stadium. It is an organic part, a living organism.
The cauldron.
The cauldron, but the Suncorp Factor, right? It's almost a death knell for New South Wales teams. They've only won 2 deciders there.
To me,
right?
you know what it is? You're an outsider, and I hope you're watching Queenslanders. You're an outsider, and you go to those country towns, which is a hillbilly town, just a bunch of yobbos there. That's what it feels like. So yeah. I hope you're watching Queenslanders. Shots fired.
Absolute shots fired, because you know what? They are a bunch of yobbos, and I'm telling you what, New South Wales is going to go out. I swear, New South Wales is going to go out the weekend. Absolutely tear them apart. The last time they won a decider in Suncorp was in 2005 when the 8th immortal Andrew Johns came back and tore Queensland apart, right? Now, my question to you is, firstly, will New South Wales Blues be overwhelmed?
I don't think they'll be overwhelmed. They're up to the task. They got the troops for it. They got some strong men on the bench. Mitch Barnett will be up to it. I'll tell you now, Isaiah doesn't take a backward step. Spencer Linu's, I think he's just seeing targets, red eyes, angry eyes.
Bro, the guy just wants to get in there and he just wants to break through the...
Connor Watson's no pushover, I'll tell you what. He's quite aggressive. Then you got your starters. I know like Jake Trbojevic isn't, but he doesn't take a backward step either.
But he'll be there for the first 20 minutes to defend. He'll be there to defend his life off.
He'll be the first one in, or one of the first ones in, to defend his teammates all the time. He's a loyal teammate. Occasion doesn't get to him. He's pretty cool under it. Doesn't go missing. He's just doesn't play that high impact sort of footy you want in Origin. Look, it might be effective for us tomorrow. Yeah.
I think that the first 20 minutes will be all about defence, and Jake Trbojevic is one guy you want there defending. That's the one thing I will give him.
I just want to, there's 2 guys I think will be our first in for everything.
Liam Martin?
No. Oh, okay, 3 now. Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, and Stephen Crichton.
Yeah.
I think those 3 guys, and I hope Stephen Crichton gets the support from all his backs. Every time there's a niggle, every time there's a face-off. The other guy that will always be in there's the Jerome Luai.
Yeah.
He's another one. So you've got a good combination there.
It's a great combination.
You've got some players that will always come in.
Very close-knit, very hard workers, and they support each other. Now, I don't think the Blues will be overwhelmed. If anything, I think the Blues are going in with a lot of confidence, and this is the first time I've seen a Blues coach in a long time go in there and be willing to go toe-to-toe with the Queensland
being
rubbish.
Cocky, being arrogant. That's what you got to be.
It's part of
Freddie's mates with
Slater.
With Billy the Kid, because they work in the same station. They're both former players.
I think that's a big thing. I think it's a massive thing.
At the highest level. Whereas Madge doesn't care what people think. He's there to ruffle feathers. He knows at the end of the day he's going to shake hands in that. But it's time to be serious. We can shake hands when the series is over. Just for that one fleeting second.
And I think even looking at him never giving interviews giving interviews on Fox Sports, never really giving that extra access. It was all only to Channel 9 because he works for Channel 9, and he works alongside Slater, so he had to be a little bit more diplomatic and things like that.
I didn't like that. I don't like how they even interview the coach during the game.
I hate that.
Ridiculous.
But what are they? What? Yeah, it's awkward. The coach is worried.
I don't want to know what he's thinking during the game. I'm just happy to see his emotion.
Let me watch the game. Let me watch what's happening on the field. Let me watch what's happening on the field.
Talk to him at full time. Not at half time, at full time.
At full time, that's right. And even the players coming off at half time, having that quick. What's
I don't want to hear them either. Talk to them at full time. I don't want to know their thoughts during the game.
Let the pundits give us the punditry.
Save it for after the game.
Absolutely. And look, I actually think that the New South Wales are going to absolutely shock Queensland. I think Queensland's in for a shock. I think that, in fact, I actually think this may be a little bit overwhelming for Queensland. Why I say that?
I love to look. He should be, but the referee's not going to make it seem like that. The referee obviously will be playing up to the crowd's reactions, and also because he's a Queenslander, and also as history suggests, he always favours the Queenslanders.
So
I'm not going to back down from that statement.
To that, right? In the 60 games played at the famous ground, which is Suncorp Stadium, Queensland have won the penalty count on 43 occasions.
I'm glad you've
got So close to 80% of the time, right, they win the penalty count. New South Wales have only won the penalty count 9 times.
And the other 8 times was tied, eh?
And the other 8 times
they could have easily went Queensland's way. So Queensland are pretty much winning almost 80%.
80%.
When you come back to New South Wales, more even.
50-50, 55-45. That's the problem.
That's pretty much dead even down the model.
That explains to you
that we should have Queensland as a referee.
That explains to you why Queensland has this Queensland spirit. It's not Queensland spirit. It's called the ref being on your side. That's what that bullshit Queensland spirit is all about.
They've had the rub of the green since the first state of origin, since the Barry Gomersall days.
Absolutely.
I reckon Klein's worse than Gomersall when it comes to bias.
Look, Klein's pretty bad, but you know what I think it is as well, to be honest? It's not just the penalties. Queensland were allowed, when they're playing in Suncorp, they get away with laying in the ruck. They get away with slowing the ball down. They get away with their grubby tactics. They get away with their niggle.
They'll do the same grubby tactics that New South Wales will get penalised for.
Absolutely.
And they won't even get pulled up. They might get a caution, and that's it. Ridiculous.
And that's the problem that's been. The refereeing has been uneven, and I'm so glad that Madge and the media have actually decided to speak about it after 40 years.
There should have been more of a pylon on the refs. And I blame the NRL for this because, honestly, they haven't picked out where the refereeing needs to be improved. They should honestly put a lot of pressure on Ashley Klein.
Yeah, agreed.
To be fair income, honest with your calls. Otherwise, you won't ref another state of origin. They should put him really under pressure.
I mean, to be honest,
and review every single of his decisions.
To be honest, I don't think Klein should be refereeing Origin this year anyway. It should have been Adam G.
I'm surprised he got even one game, but now they've given him all 3. And what's worse than this side, it just shows how biased he is towards the Queensland.
Absolute joke.
Who makes these appointments? Another Queenslander?
Yeah, probably, mate. They're like.
They should probably just run a lotto and just pull her out of the hat. It'll be better than that.
All right, so let's have a bit of a chat. All right, let's have a bit of a chat around the teams. Yeah. Yep. My first question to you is, when does Kalen Ponga come on? When do you think Billy will bring Ponga on?
65th minute.
You think he'll leave him on the bench for 65 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I think he's got some sort of plan, and whatever he does, it might work out to be a masterstroke because of the referee. I'm going to stick by that statement because he'll just keep him in the game or ahead.
I mean, we can't just keep talking about the referee.
Look, if Walsh plays good and Queensland's on top, he'll keep him. He probably won't inject him to the last 10 or 15 minutes. If Walsh is having a really quiet game, then he might just inject him at half time or probably with about half an hour to go.
Well, so you think if Walsh isn't performing, he'll hook him?
Bloody oath. Where else is he going to play Ponga? He can't play him at hooker.
Well, he might play him at lock in the middle to get him to do the sweep around with Walsh.
You saw how many concussions he copped like a few years ago, even last year. And, he can't play lock.
Not against his big team, eh?
He can't defend in the line against forwards every set. He's got to be at the back. Or defending on the fringes. Who's he lock or whose spot is he taking?
I mean, you could bring someone. Maybe you bring like a capable off.
Can't come on for Carrigan. Carrigan's a different type of player.
Carrigan will play 8 minutes.
You can't. I mean, the only way I see Ponga coming on is somewhere in the back line, whether it's on the wing at fullback, center. Yeah, he can do that, or it's in the half.
I don't think you want. Yeah, I think you'd want him in the middle somewhere to be able to get the ball away.
He'll either come on for Dearden or he'll come on for Walsh. I can't see it anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even at lock.
Not even at lock. He's not a big body. There is no need for him to put him at lock.
All right. So here's a question to you then. Let's say you've got Ben Hunt at 9, Daly Cherry Evans at 7, you got Dearden at 6, Walsh at 1, and then Kalen Ponga is brought on at lock. You have 5 playmakers in your team. The Queensland will have 5. Is that too many?
Too many. What's the word? Not enough.
Too many chefs spoil the broth.
No. That's one thing. That's right. And then too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got the ball. There'll be too many voices.
Right.
You need someone steaming ahead and someone doing the dirty work or the Paddy Carrigan sort of work.
Yeah. Like that's my fear for Queensland is, I feel that Slater's gone for the all-out attack approach. Whereas New South Wales is more strategic in the type of players that they've picked. I think that their attack is just as good, right? But they've got bigger, more brute force props as opposed to Queensland. Because
Queensland got those mobile forwards, like as I was pointing out, like Canada before, and they seem to get the job done.
Okay, but how mobile is Angus Crichton? Angus Crichton isn't one of those players that just runs hard. Angus Crichton is a freak. He is in career best form. And Liam Martin, bro, nothing needs to be said. But let's just stick to Queensland for a second, right? You've got Dane Gagai and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow in the centres, right? I think Stephen Crichton cancels out Hamiso's speed and attack. Right, I think it's a straight cancellation. They cancel each other out.
You can never, and he's an absolute weapon. You can never discount Tabuai-Fidow. I like what you're saying because Crichton is an absolute gun defender at centres. He's extremely hard to outplay in a game, like extremely hard.
No, I get you, but my point is that if there's any centre you want defending against Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, it's Crichton. It's Critter. So my point is that he's less of a worry than, say, Dane Gagai coming up against Bradman Best. Right?
Teammates.
I think it'll be a very, very interesting battle. That is going to be one of the most interesting battles of the night. Because I'm very interested to see, does Dane Gagai still have the Origin Gagai? Is he still Origin Gagai? Or
He's a
has
freak
he
out
lost
Origin,
it?
isn't he?
He's an absolute, bro. He wears Superman cape every time he plays Origin.
So be a good one.
I'll be very interested to see how Gagai performs. And I actually think Bradman Best is going to get the better of him.
I mean, the way they play, you think he would. But he just said it before. He puts on his Superman cape.
But Bradman's faster. He's stronger. He's probably more bulky than Gagai.
Gagai's a better defender.
Is Gagai a better defender, though? I think Gagai's is his defense.
I think it's only when he comes up against Latrell. Latrell makes him a speed on. Honestly.
Yeah.
Latrell, honestly, out of everyone, it was Latrell that would just give him nightmares. Everyone else, he was fine. Or maybe Greg Inglis did a few times as well in club games.
Who do you think stands out for you in the Queensland team? We'll talk about Queensland, then we'll get to New South Wales.
For me, the Queenslanders, look, there's things. If they're going to control New South Wales, it's their line speed. Because you know the Bulldogs got probably the fastest line speed in the game because of those mobile forwards, smaller forwards. Queensland, if their line speed's great, they'll stifle the New South Wales attack. How effective? I don't know. A lot of the shoulders, a lot of rest on the shoulders for the ruck speed in terms of playing the quick play the balls. Yeah. Harry Grant and Ben Hunt. Harry Grant, especially Harry Grant. Harry Grant, the last year and a half, I feel like his ruck speed hasn't been up to where we used to see it.
Yeah.
Who else? Well, Paddy Carrigan, if he has a big game, he can fire up the rest of those forwards.
Yeah.
Tabuai-Fidow, he's got some individual brilliance in him. Obviously, he's up against, it's very hard. He's up against Crichton. So if Crichton doesn't have an off game, then, you're looking at the likes of Paddy Carrigan and, Harry Grant / Ben Hunt to lift the rest of the team. Reece Walsh, I think, will be well contained by the New South Wales team. I think they'll do a number on him. Wouldn't be surprised if he slips into a tackle and then gets himself KO'd, and unfortunately we have to have someone go off.
Do you think...
He's another Tedesco, slips into tackles.
So, I think Latrell targeted Walsh quite heavily in Game 2.
And unfairly got penalised. I thought he just bashed him and deserved to be rewarded instead of penalised.
Do you think that Madge is given that task now to maybe a Bradman Best or a Angus Crichton or someone to target
I think
Walsh?
the whole team, Liam Martin's good at hitting someone fair and square.
Yeah, he's great at it.
Even Angus Crichton, he'll probably level him. Yeah, definitely. I think they'll all go after him.
Yeah.
I think even Jake Trebojevic.
Yeah. That could be a good one. For me, I think that the one scary player it's just the one, and this is the reason why I think Billy Slater's got him on the bench. That's Kalen Ponga.
But how much?
I think that Kalen Ponga is a far superior fullback to Reece Walsh. I think he has a more well-rounded game. Sure, Walsh has the speed, but I think that Ponga has a lot more than Walsh. My fear for Ponga though is that when he comes on, right, Madge is gonna be like, all right, Isaiah or Mitch, you're going on. I want you to mark Ponga. Every step he takes, I want you to hit him. Everywhere he goes, hit him. I want you to mark him to a T. And if they can do a number on Ponga, don't forget, he's only played one game.
Very hard. Yeah, I know. That's what they got in their favour.
One game since round 7.
Yeah, that's a good pick out.
And there are... Isaiah Yeo and Mitch Barnett are probably the two most fit forwards in the game next to someone like Max King, I think.
Do you remember someone like Andrew Johns would come back for one game and he's back?
Yeah.
he would even, he could have been his first game back. Could have been State of Origin.
Yeah,
and you knew that you're in for a torrid time.
That's right. I mean,
he didn't need any warm up.
And that's Kalen Ponga. But that the team that we've chosen is such a well-rounded team, the New South Wales team. The other one that I think that can really tear us apart is I think Selwyn Cobbo up against Brian To'o. If they kick to that corner and To'o isn't supported enough by Badman Best, because I think both To'o and Best are quite short.
Isn't Lomax up against Cobbo?
Oh, I think you're right, actually. It will be Lomax up against Cobbo.
Well, I think Valentine... Oh, hang on. Yeah, that's right. I think Lomax is
Yeah,
up
it is.
against...
Yeah, it will be. It'll be...
I wouldn't have any worries.
No, if it's Lomax against Cobbo, I have Lomax all over Cobbo.
You saw how high Lomax soared
Incredible.
in that MCG game. The AFL fans loved it. They were raving about it,
It's
actually.
incredible. I think that the worst pick or the worst selection in that team for the Queenslanders is very, very harsh, but I think it's Felice Govusi on that team. I don't think that he was the right choice at all. At all. For the Blues, where do you think it's won?
Look, I always pointed out we're going to have the ref against us, the crowd against us.
All right, so considered from the team perspective.
So from the team perspective, if the New South Wales forwards, I'm not going to say it's one in the forwards, if they can just hold their own, keep up with the Queensland team, manage the middle, don't yield to the Queenslanders. There is players in the New South Wales team. We need to rely on their individual brilliance to get us. Bradman Best is one of those guys. I think he can probably score 2-3 on his own. He can break through. He's pretty electric for a centre.
Stocky, very stocky.
He can run you 100 metres, or 60, 50, 40 metres, beat 3-4 players. And then another one I think is, he's been absolutely smashing them in the forwards this year, Angus Crichton. That's the other one. Angus Crichton, you saw how he was pulverising teams for he was absolutely killing. It was like 200 metres plus, 30, 40 tackles, 20 big hits, 2-3 tries. He's that sort of player. He can also burst through and go 20, 30, 40, 50 metres if need be. He's actually very fast for a second rower. So I'm relying on New South Wales to hold their own and just individual brilliance from those sort of players. That's what I'm hoping on to get him home.
Firstly, I want to talk about the bench, right? Before I tell you who I think is one.
This guy's in love with the bench. He hasn't stopped raving about him since
honestly,
Barnett got chosen. It's all Barnett, eh?
No. Hang on. I think this is the most well-rounded and probably one of the best benches New South Wales has had for about 20 years. I think this is a fantastic bench because you will get 30, 40 tackles out of both Isaiah Yeo and Mitch Barnett. You will get at least 150 to 200 metres out of each of them. Connor Watson, he's strong, he's quick, good passing game, can play all across the back line. And then you've got Spencer Leniu, who is an absolute lunatic. This guy will go on and he will turn the momentum on its head.
Or Angry Eyes could score. You know what? Angry Eyes could score us a few tomorrow if they get him in the right spot.
He almost did in game one. He almost didn't turn the game even with 12. I just love the bench, and
if he bashes him how he was bashing St George,
he will. He will.
I was pleading for him to get him off. Get him off. He was too good.
I think I don't think that we're going to rely on individual brilliance. What I do think will happen is that Mitchell Moses' big boot, even if the Queensland line is very quick, even if the Ashley Klein gives them a short 10 and he gives us a long 10, I think that Mitchell Moses' big boot will be the most important factor for New South Wales, because it's similar. You talk about the Bulldogs and the line speed.
We might get a small 10 metres as well, so we have to rely on pumping long kicks.
Yeah, and you look at the Bulldogs, right? The reason they've stayed in a lot of games with their smaller forward pack is because of Burton's boot. He kicks 600-700 metres a game.
And if Bradman Best didn't play, I was all for Burto to play because I know we got another kicking option.
Massive boot. So for me, I think Mitchell Moses is very key, and obviously that's not saying much because he's the 7. But I think the one other person, excuse me, that will make the biggest difference, and I think he's going to be I think he'll be player of the match if we win. It's going to be Cameron Murray. I think he is.
He needs to have a big game. They spoke about Payne Haas not having a big game, and then second State of Origin, he blew him away in that first half.
And I expect more of the same because he plays in Suncorp. He's not new to Suncorp.
Yeah, we need Cam Murray to produce a immortal type half.
He is one of the most underrated players in this team. As long as Cameron Murray can get the quick play the balls, make the tackles, make the runs, and distribute them all between Mitchell Moses and Jerome Luai, right? I think that Queensland won't be able to contain us, and I don't think it'll be individual brilliance.
I like to see him backing up and support playing and running off the halves up the middle on the inside pass.
he's
he's
so
really
good
good
at
at that.
He's
But
really good at
I
it.
want to see it in State of Origin. I don't think he's utilised enough in that sense.
I mean, generally it's always been Isaiah that's been the one that does that. So maybe
Murray's
he should be,
Murray's very fast. He's almost like centre-like
He's
speed.
very fast. But I think our bench is far superior to theirs in almost every single facet. Yes, they've got Kalen Ponga, but I think
he's just wasted on the bench, so he's pretty much negated.
I mean, where do you put him if he's not on the bench though?
Either I start him
Or not choose him?
at 1 or 6, but they've put Dearden there, or I don't choose him. Honest.
Yeah. Look, it's interesting.
Imagine his play of his caliber. Either he's going to if he doesn't get at least half an hour, he's wasted.
Yeah, that's a good point.
15 minutes ain't going to do it for me.
Point. So with right, how do you think we should be using, or the New South Wales should be using Connor Watson?
I think he'll come in and he'll definitely be relieving Reece Robson for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He's there also for injury cover.
Do you think he can come on?
He might get a stint at lock.
Yeah,
he might,
that's what I was going to ask.
I was about to say Isaiah. Isaiah really roves around the lock position better than in second row, I reckon.
Did you realize in game 2, Isaiah played more exclusively as a prop than he did a lock?
I like Isaiah around the fringes, to be honest.
Yeah, he's
I
big
know he's a
body.
lock.
Yeah.
I reckon he goes good around as a fringe second row, like around the edge second row type. Anyways, that's just.
I'm so excited. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am about this game. All right.
And then we see him after the game.
We're about to finish. We've loved previewing the game. Give me your first try scorer, winner, and what the score's going to be.
For each side or just overall?
The game.
First try scorer will be Brian Tull.
Very good shout.
New South Wales by 2.
Wow.
And then as a
man of the match. Who's man of the match? Who'll be the Mal Meninga medalist?
Mal-
Wally Lewis medalist.
Angus Crichton.
Angus Crichton. I think it's a good shout.
And then what's he called? Just an extra comment. New South Wales will get pelted with bottles and other Queensland grubs when they're walking off the field.
Yeah, typical of Queensland grubs, I guess. So for me, I think first try scorer is going to be Zach Lomax. I think Zach Lomax is going to be first try scorer.
Could have went Crichton.
I think it's going to be set up by Crichton. I think Crichton's going to have a big game. And Zach Lomax is going to be first try scorer. I think the Blues are going to blow them away, right? I think the score is going to be 32-12.
Oh, that would be nice.
And I think the man of the match, I think for this game is going to be Cameron Murray, right? I think Cam Murray. And player of the series will be Angus Crichton.
Nice.
That's what I think is going to happen.
That's good. Yeah, I hope so. As long as New South Wales get the win.
I'm saying that Mitch Barnett is going to prove that he deserves to be in Origin every single year. I am such a big fan of Mitch Barnett because he comes in, plays prop, plays second row. Has a good pass. Is not bad with the ball.
He's 30 now, so if he keeps up, we'll see him for another few series.
He can play another few series. He's playing. He's in career best form. Like against the Doggies. Against the Doggies, he's played for. Out of this 88 minutes, I think he played for 82 minutes or something like that.
I think it's a blessing that he left Newcastle.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Bradman Best isn't doing it because Newcastle's doing well. Anyway, let's not get into that. But, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great crowd. I think the Blues are going to go up there and they are going to punish Queensland severely. And Billy Slater is going to be made to look like a fool for his poor choices because he has really made some poor choices. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being too harsh? Am I spot on? What is the situation? Very, very excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much if you stuck to the end. Please be sure to subscribe to us. Like this video if you do enjoy it. We'll be watching tomorrow from the minute the coverage starts. I cannot wait for this. This is probably one of the most excited I've been about Origin for a while. Great game. We've got a great team. And isn't it exciting that someone like Mitch Moses has the chance to be sort of alongside the greats like Andrew Johns if he can lead the team
Ricky
tomorrow
Stewart.
to a win.
Well, you think about it, Mitchell Pearce, Junior's son.
Yeah.
Remember he got the deputised for Cleary in that third game?
Yeah.
He got to join. He had a lot of heartbreak for about 7-8 series.
But not in Suncorp. Yeah, it's true, but it wasn't at Suncorp.
Yeah, I know.
This is a whole different beast. This is a completely different beast. So if Mitchell Moses can go up there and do it, Like, to be up there, you'll be remembered up there with the Andrew Johns, as you say, the
Ricky Stewart,
Stewarts.
that was 94.
You know, Jake Drabojevic will be the captain that led the
That was a
New
special
South Wales
series,
winning
94.
team. I think there's a lot of history to be made, and I genuinely believe that Queensland does not have the defence to trouble New South Wales at all.
They got the referee.
I still don't think that, to a certain extent, will matter.
All I know is after today's, episode, I think Queensland state government's got menu marked down. So any airport we step off at the border, I think we'll have the police leading us away.
Bring it on, mate. Queensland, they don't know what's going to hit them. And I think, you look at their back line, like both Kurt Capel and Jeremiah Nene, they have defensive issues. That's really my problem with this team.
So that's Felice Kafusi. When he's not hitting hard, he's missing tackles.
He's missing a lot of tackles. And so, again, it just makes me so happy that we finally have a Queensland coach that's made stupid decisions like we've had in New South Wales for a very long time. Right? We had Freddie Fittler, then we had Laurie Daly before him making, poor decisions. So, for me, I think I'm very, very confident, and it's probably the most confident I've been going into a decider as a New South Welshman for a very, very long time. Come to the end of the preview. If you did like it, please like, subscribe. Thank you very, very much for your time.